not clear. There we go. Yud-Ha-Veh-Ha. Bless us all in Yeshua HaMashiach's name. May the Holy Spirit fill all of us and lead us in Yeshua's name, Selah. So before I get into my testimony, I want to show you guys something. And I'm going to share something very personal too. I would like to write a book and put in it everything that I've been saying in part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. And I'm waving to my chat room. But I have like a big testimony. It's not only about deep underground military bases, DUMBs, but it's also about my walk with our great grand almighty I am. But in my intimate, active, personal relationship with my heavenly Abba, Yud-Ha-Veh-Ha, wow, I didn't even notice that. I always told Heavenly Abba, if you give me a picture of you, I'll show the world and turn them all into believers, if I could. So I think by my profile picture, he did that. It's another story, so let me stay on topic. But I wish for a lot of things. And I talked to Heavenly Abba about everything, and I wanted to be ordained to be closer to him and to have him for myself. And I call Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ of Nazareth, my golden bow, for I am his white hot silver arrow, who wills to pierce the heart of Satan. But I have my dreams, and I don't know. I love all the stories in the Holy Bible. And one that strikes me the most has always been about the 144,000 seals of Revelation. So when I got that cross on my forehead in May 2014 in Kennebunkport, Maine, while on vacation, I made my covenant to Yud-Ha-Veh-Ha. When I saw the picture in June with the cross, it instantly reminded me of that story. So I'm 44 years old. Yesterday, the speedometer on my car, can you guys see? I don't know. Probably not. Why can't you see it? That sucks. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Can you see it now? Okay. It's 44 degrees Fahrenheit, and my odometer turned. Ah, there. You can kind of see it, the glare. 144,000 miles, and I'm 44 years old. So Heavenly and Abba and I have a numbers game, but I'm always praying, so I pray for the 144,000. But anyway, without further ado, yeah, I'll never get that autobiography written. I'd rather just run these videos and tell you, because that'll happen a lot quicker and faster than me writing. Plus, if I write, then I don't get to show you my dream book and tell you all about it. And that's one of the spiritual gifts I believe Heavenly Abba gave to me, is dreams and visions. Among other gifts, I do believe. So I have 5 drawings and a couple notes of the stories that I can tell you, my own personal experiences of what it was like to be sent out on assignments and missions. I have focused a lot on the tortures and traumas that we faced as young children at the hands of our programmers and Nazi scientists. And it may sound fantastical, but it's the truth. And it's the best that I can remember and recall and try to articulate to you. But once we grew up, at least speaking for myself, and we did not die from all of that, they used us. Some people were farmed out to Hollywood. Some people were farmed out to be senators, congressmen, politicians that you see on TV speaking. Some of them were farmed out to be soldiers. Some were farmed out to be on black operations. Some people were sent to be journalists. Some people, I mean, they farmed me out to black operations. But my understanding is different about black operations than most people think, you know, when you hear black ops. But, you know, I believe I was in Project Ibis, Seagate, Project Delta, Beta, Omega, Looking Glass, Pegasus, Mannequin. What other ones do I believe I was in? They put me through the gauntlet of MK Ultra programming in these deep underground military bases and above ground government facilities, me and the other children. So I just lost my train of thought. It's going to take me a while to get through. I'll pick one story. I'm only going to run this for about an hour, and I'll get to the other drawings and the other stories of what we did, the assignments, the missions. I had a death experience with another super soldier. We met Yudha Veha and Yeshua HaMashiach. This is when Joseph Mangley let me go, and I chose to go to my ministries that I follow. I don't know if I should name them or not, and I want to because they've had such great impacts on my life. I'm always sharing their videos, though, on my pages. But anyway, there was another time down in the jungle. We were hunting for something. This was one time when it was actually a good memory, but we were down in Peru. Oh, and then I just got started. Haha. You know what else I remembered I can tell you about? Boy, am I glad that sometimes I slow down and take the time to draw. It'll help me in my telling. This is the swastika-shaped hospital building on the dark side of the moon. When I was there, when we got blown up on the moon, or something happened. But they took up me and my commander and others to this hospital, but that's me. We'll get to all those stories. But a lot of these stories may sound fantastical to you, but please understand that, and I'm still doing research and studies, and everything that I've learned like 4 years ago, I have to refresh my memory on because I forget. I simply flat out forget. And we're always supposed to be renewing our minds and educating ourselves and doing research and studies. But see, there I go again, losing my train of thought. On Egyptian pyramids, people mainly focus on the Great Pyramid and, you know, how it marks the stars in Orion. But they forget about all those other pyramids, and there's hundreds of pyramids. Inscribed on those pyramids are, in fact, MK Ultra mind control techniques. And I'm sharing my personal experiences about them with you. So it's hard for me to explain myself and sound like a professor or maybe a well-known speaker, because these are my personal experiences and they may sound fantastical or above your head, but really I mean, when I woke up realizing what I had survived and overcame, of course, because Yeshua HaMashiach did it first, I fell to pieces. I fell apart on 2 different police departments. I fell apart on a famous ministry in Lodi, New Jersey. So it was a lot for me to wrap my mind around. But you have to remember the 13 Illuminati families, and you have approximately 220 Bilderberg families. They have more money than they know what to do with. They have taken alien technology out of the pyramids and anything good out of the pyramids. I know the History Channel is still trying to figure them out, but really, the Smithsonian only shows us 10% of what it's collected, and if you turn something over to them, they keep it. In deep underground military bases, we're exposed to alien technology. We're exposed to those entities as well. Fallen angels, little gray aliens, all of that, reptilians. It's a lot to handle. I do not wish to harm anyone in my testimony. I do not wish to trigger anyone. So please, if there's children, take them out of the room. And if you are an MK Ultra survivor, having been exposed to similar mind control techniques as me, you might not want to watch this video either because it could trigger you. But I'll make a short video. I'll be here for maybe an hour. I have rheumatoid arthritis. My knees are bothering me. Ow, ow, ow. Oh, wait, I forgot. Okay, so I was about 18 years old, I believe, 18 to 20. And we left the dumps, of course, you know. I got farmed out to Black Ops. And there came this day. There came this day. I'm going to tell you what I remember. I have a drawing. So I'm going to focus on this one part and tell you everything I can remember. So I was about 18 years old, 20. My military commander and I get on board a helicopter. And inside this helicopter, it's the pilots, my military commander, me, strapped in the seats, and across from me is a guy and some other people. I don't know who they were. Well, I do know who they are now, but at the time, I had no idea who I was mouthing off to. But so we're in this helicopter and we take off. I have a parachute strapped on. I'm nervous, scared. I hate roller coasters because when you go down roller coasters, your stomach drops. I hate that feeling. Oh, it terrifies me. Like when you have a dream and you fall over in the dream and your stomach drops. Oh, I hate that too. Drives me nuts. It's killer. Well, anyway, we get in this helicopter and the pilots, well, we fly. We're flying. We're in the air. And I look over and I say to this guy sitting across from me, I'm like, do you have some Dramamine? And he looks at me. He goes, no. So I lean back. I'm like, I'm scared. I have the daylight. I'm scared, you know. I don't like that feeling, that sinking feeling in my stomach. You might have to push me out of this helicopter because I don't think I'm going to make it. And I start joking around. And he leans forward and he goes, when you jump out, He goes, have a full breath of air, control your breathing, and slowly exhale. And focus on slowly exhaling, like through one of those coffee straws. And that will stop your dropping, your sinking stomach, and you'll be all right. So we're flying out over the ocean. Pilots say ready. My military handler stands up. I'm on my feet. My military handler. Now, during this time, I see that guy stand up from his seat and start to approach me. Because again, remember, I may have to be pushed out the helicopter. I was so scared, so frightened. Oh, forget it. Forget it. So my military commander takes off. So my feet are running right behind him. I see this guy. Okay, so my military handler goes out the door. And I see this guy coming towards me, and I'm thinking to myself, there is no way I am letting him push me out. I'm getting out this helicopter on my own. I'm going out either way, so I'm going out on my own. And I stayed right in step with my military handler. I made sure he couldn't even like get his fingertips on me. I got myself out that helicopter and I jumped in the water. And I remembered to breathe slowly on the exhale. And this is one of the few good memories I have. So, because the rest are just brutal. Excuse me for getting excited and laughing a lot. But we hit the water. I thought I did a flip or something. I don't know. Probably not. If I ever had to go out a helicopter again. Oh, no, I didn't have a parachute strapped to me. That was another time. So, forgive me. But that was, I don't know. We had to jump out the helicopter. But anyway, we hit the water. My military handler rises first, their commander. And he goes, oh, so you like him better now? And I remember looking up at the helicopter and waving. So I got accepted into black operations. But for me, that meant that I was still in the dumps. So that was fun, though. Well, looking back, that I made it, but I wouldn't want to have to jump out of a helicopter now. I'd be scared to death. So anyway, I had mentioned that I had been in DUMS from, hi chat room, from all over. And there was one deep underground military base. You know, when you look up Bimini Road, it's under the ocean. Well, there's a DUM out that way. And it's like partially above the water and partially under the water. I remember being there with another female super soldier and looking down. I don't know what we were on, what sort of platform or what was happening, but I remember looking down on Bimini Road and looking for an entrance or looking for something. And her and I never got along. And she said something like, well, how do you know I'm not going to try to fight you back? And I'm like, you better not. I'll kick your ass just like I did the first time. Try me. I guess I could talk back then, but not now. I'm weak and feeble now because I'm 44 and really old and frail. But so excuse the language, but that's what was said. Something to the effect. But so that's where we worked with dolphins, was in Bimini. And I believe something happened and I ended up getting kicked out. The instructors were not happy with me. But we worked with dolphins. They have sonar. They're really smart and intelligent. Why we needed their sonar and why we needed them, I can't remember. I don't have all my memories. And uh, and a lot of them are fragmented, and I'll tell you why later. But so I ended up being in Project Seagate, and I think it was over. I don't know. I'm just saying off the top of my head, possibly Yemen, right? Because don't they have an underwater Seagate? There's approximately 47 stargates around the world, and they open and close by themselves, and we humans have no control over them. You remember that movie back in the 80s or 90s, Stargate? Watch it. It's kind of truth hidden in plain sight, that movie. Now, a Seagate is basically the same thing as a Stargate, except it's under the ocean. Hence, Seagate, but it's still a Stargate. So, they open and close on their own. I believe that's why we humans have CERN, is because now we will finally control and own a Stargate to ourselves, and we'll be able to manipulate it as humans. That's a very scary thing. So anyway, when I was gone for extended amounts of time, a clone was put in my place. That's why nobody noticed my absence. And I was conveniently always sick and staying home. So anyway, I was in a dump somewhere. I think Yemen, I'm not sure. But I was with my new Black Operations military handler, the guy that was sitting across from me in the helicopter that I didn't know who I was talking to. So he was there with some other super soldiers. And of course, you have the lab coats, the scientists. So, and they kind of ran the show for the most part. I remember being in front of the Seagate. It looked like big doors. I don't know, maybe with water going over them. It's blurry. Just big, huge doors. There were rows of seats. I think there was a desk and some seats in front of the Seagate. I was in there one night late with my military handler, and what's it called? The silver cord. What I remember is the silver cord going from my military handler was sitting to my left. I was sitting here. The Seagate's to the left. I used the silver cord. I remember the silver cord. I was walking through the Seagate, and then I walked back again with my silver cord, and I re-entered my body. And my military handler, I remember, was sitting there going, he did something. He goes, "Now that's how you do it, Holly. That's how you do it, Hall." I was like, I can do that on my own. That was pretty cool. So my body was in the chair, but I used the silver cord to go through the Seagate that time. I believe that we walk through them normally, like our bodies. I'm not sure, because there were times that I believe that when we were on the other side of the Seagate, we had avatar bodies that we were using. So, see, that's the difference between a normal soldier and a super soldier, is that I have supernatural abilities where typical soldiers think they don't have any spiritual gifts or anything like that. What I have is a spiritual gift from Heavenly Abba. But anyway, there was this one time we were sent on a mission through the Seagate. And before we went, I had said to my new Black Ops military handler, no names. And to the other soldiers, I said, if we make it back, I'm going to stand on top of this chair and rock it like a champ if we get this done. And I'm going to stand on top of the chair, be like Rocky. And so the mission commenced. We went through the Seagate. And on the other side, I'm not sure where we were. I couldn't tell you positively, but we were doing something. And I was off on my own. And I remember burying a tool or something, or putting it in my pouch, or taking something from my pouch and burying it, or hiding something. I'm not quite sure. But I was doing something wrong. I don't know what the other people were doing, but my military handler was there. There was another girl there. There were others that walked through the Seagate too. I don't know where we were or exactly what we were doing. I just remember hiding a tool or hiding something. So we walked back through the Seagate into the dump, and all of us made it back all right. And I remember standing on top of my chair going, we made it back. Yay, you know. So all of a sudden, the lab coats got really mad, really pissed off. And they come over and they yoke me, they grab me and this other girl, and they throw us down on the floor, screaming at us. I think they were kicking us too. And they're like, what did you guys do? What did you do? What happened? They drag us out of that room and into a back room, and they continue flipping out on me and this other girl. And I remember cowering on the floor, covering myself, thinking, well, actually, one of the lab coat, forgive me. The lab coats are standing over me and the girl, like, giving us all hell. And they're like, what did you do? What did you do? And I said to the lab coat, exactly what you told me to do. I followed your orders. I did exactly what you told me to do. And I remember being in that fetal position, thinking, boy, I wish I could remember that for when my biological mother gets on my case about everything. I can tell her, well, I did what you told me to. But me and this other girl got in trouble for something. I couldn't tell you what it was, but apparently I did a little more than I was told to do. I mean, I was a guilty party in whatever bad happened from my memory, because those lab coats really got mad at us. So I'd really like to remember what it was that I did. But I remember when I was a small child, very young, maybe 4 or 5 or 6, and around there, me and other children were taken to Mars. I understand there's jump rooms to Mars. I understand alien aircrafts can get you to Mars, but that's, again, advanced alien technology. When I was a kid, I remember sitting on the surface of Mars, and there was an entity next to me. It looked like a purple-green blob. We were sitting on a huge rock. In front of us was water. And beyond that it looked like a part of the mountain, but inside was an installation, a base. And other children were in there. And I remember talking to this entity, and I had said, well, what about God? And this entity said, well, that's a funny question. And then I can't remember anything after that. this entity said, would you like to stay or would you like to go home? So I said, I want to go home. I miss my grandmother and my grandfather, Graham and Papa. And this entity said, okay, well, you need to say goodbye to the other kids. So I went and said goodbye to the other kids, and I decided to come here and stay here with my grandparents. That was when I was young. I'm not sure what age I was. 18. I think I was between 18 and during my 20s was when this next thing is I'm going to tell you about. I'll show you my drawing, right? So this is the surface of Mars. It's all rocky. There's paths and roadways. The sky's dark. These are the big, huge, tall mountains. There's big boulders, but there's also shardy rocks. It's like orange and brown colored. This is me and one Black Ops group, and this is another team. As fantastical as it sounds, we were searching for dolphins because of something with their sonar, and I think that's how we needed them to get back home. So yes, we found the dolphins. Everybody is such a mocker when it comes to this part of my testimony. But anyway, I'm the one that has the experience, so you guys can mock all you want. It was pretty cool. I remember walking up to the big, huge sides of the mountain and putting my ear up to them and listening. And I was listening for the dolphins to find them. And I remember coming up on this one section of the mountain. They're huge. And listening. And I remember shouting out to the other team, I found the dolphins. They're right in here. So we had to be in our 20s. I can't recall anything else that we did on Mars. I'll tell you, I liked Mars. Of all the planets, that's my favorite. I really liked Mars. The entity was nice to me. Everybody was nice. I just loved Mars. So I remember when we returned home, we were not together, of course, but you get your own bathrooms. But I remember the different teams dispersed, and I remember showering and getting cleaned up and thinking to myself, wow, people are never going to believe me if I told them I just got back from searching for dolphins on Mars. But Mars is populated. Mars is our warning system. When you see Mars tilt, you can be sure that's when the Earth's going to tilt. So definitely pay attention to what happens to Mars. What else can I tell you about dolphins, Mars, and Seagates? I do remember black operations coming into my home and taking me out of my home using scalpolamine during this time of my 20s. I remember them bringing me home as well. And I feel fortunate because some other super soldiers, they would just be really mean to and drop them off anywhere. So I feel pretty blessed that the team that I was on always made sure I got home safely to my grandmother because she meant so much to me. The other drawings, they kind of coincide with each other. So I don't want to talk about that just yet. Let's see. I'll talk about some of my fragmented memories for a moment. I've had trolls pose as friend. Not okay. Let me reword that. There are people that posed as friends, and really they were trolls. I'm public. I talk about all of this. The favorite part of my testimony is talking about my walk, chasing after a perfect lamb. A favorite part of my testimony is Yeshua HaMashiach, and how Yud-Ha-Veh-Ha plucked me out of the darkness. But if you show me pictures of Kosovo, Bosnia, and Serbia, there are buildings where I can tell you where I stood or what it looked like on the inside of a building. And I don't know why that is. I hear back in 1993 they had some sort of war. There was a troll that, and I'm going to take it as that. My interpretation is this. That person was a troll. They got me to talk about my fragmented memories, and they said to me, "Oh yeah, I was there, Holly. Don't you remember? Da, 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 da." And I'm naive and gullible, and I take people at their face value. And even when the Holy Spirit taps my shoulder and says, "Hey, this person's lying," I'm still nice enough not to call the person out. But also, I'm on the other end of a computer. I don't know what I'm dealing with on the other side. So I don't really want to be confrontational or say something that could be harmful or alienating. I do enough of that already. So the stadium, and there's a couple other buildings in Serbia that look familiar. Bosnia. I believe I remember my Black Ops team picking me up from one of those buildings. But they only picked me up by myself. I don't know what that troll was talking about, but I'll tell you my fragmented memories. That looks familiar to me. I remember entering into a big, huge airplane and people saluting me, like the captain, the pilot, and the stewardess. And I remember boarding the plane and saying something to the effect of, "We're going to have a nice flight home. I'm going to make sure of it." I have a fragmented memory of flying in an airplane. I was in a plane. It was full of politicians and everything. And I remember falling asleep on the plane, leaving my body, walking down the aisle, seeing these finely dressed politicians from all around the world. Hold on a second. Sorry, I don't mean to be rude. Anyway, I leave my body, I walk into the cockpit, I see the pilot, the co-pilot, and I remember walking up to the dashboard and just ripping apart wires and bringing the plane down and making it crash. And I hated that part because, again, the sinking feeling. I was the only one to survive that plane crash. I don't believe there were other super soldiers on that plane. I believe it was just me. So that sounds fantastical. But it's the truth. Um, what other fragmented memories do I have? I remember groups of us, 2 teams, boarding aircrafts. I'll just call them an aircraft. And they weren't your typical airplanes, so we'll call them an aircraft. Me and another super soldier, or a higher ranking super soldier, no names, we're boarding the plane, and I see the captain or the pilot. Again, he's a super soldier. He's public, but again, no names. And I looked at him and I saw his patch, and I said to him, "You only have 2 stars on your patch. What happened to 4 stars? We're the US government. Where's our 4 stars?" And this other super soldier turned around and just shot me a look like, "Oh, geez, Holly, don't start. Just don't start. Shut up." um, and later, um, I remember with this other super soldier having a parachute on and jumping out of the aircraft into the night sky. I don't quite much remember what happened after that. There is another fragmented memory I have where I was at the site of a plane crash, and I was hanging out near the plane crash waiting for my Black Ops team to come pick me up, which they normally came to pick me up. It was my military handler, my Black Operations military handler, always came to pick me up. It was always him. So this one time, this crew came, and I knew better. I should have hid. It wasn't my Black Ops team coming to get me. It was somebody else. I think it was the bad guy. They got me. They tied me up and threw me in the back of their van, and I remember them laughing, and I hated them. They weren't my Black Ops team. I don't remember anything after that. I gotta remember that. That's for... I got more stories for you. A lot of people just want to believe what NASA has to say, never a straight answer, but I would much prefer and rather to listen to somebody from the secret space program than anyone else, because you're going to get the truth from them. NASA is not going to give you the truth. You're kidding me? If NASA came out and said, "Oh yeah, by the way, there's civilizations on Mars," like, never mind. I'm not even going to get into it. So, I have another fragmented memory. I'm not sure if it coincides with the bad guys getting me or not, but I remember sitting in a chair, and I was strapped in this chair. There were 3 people standing in front of me. They were wearing dark attire. There was one big guy. And I remember saying, "You better make this good, because if I ever remember, it's going to kill me, and then I will come back and kill you." And the switch was flipped, and I don't remember anything after that. So I wonder what memories they took from me. What other fragmented memories can I tell you about? What it was like. Uh, During the time that this was happening, as I said, I lived a regular life just like anyone else. So I worked at AT&T. I worked at Pharmacia. I went to college. I had a normal life like everybody else, but I try to make it easy and explain it very easy and say I lived a double life. I served 37 years of my 44 years of life as a super soldier for the US, UK, and Canada's governments and military. Me and a few other kids were lucky enough to survive by the grace and mercy of Heavenly Abba. I have another memory. Well, that would coincide with the death experience. What else can I tell you? All right, so I have to get going shortly. So I'll tell you one more memory. It's going to sound fantastical, but I have so many scattered memories. I'm not sure how old I was. It was with my first military commander. I'd have to say I was under the age of 18. So maybe in my mid-teenage years or later teenage years, possibly. I thought we were in the UK, but then I started looking up pictures of Paris, France, and the wheels, the differences between the Ferris wheels. So I think me and my military commander were sent over to Paris, France to do an assignment. I remember sitting in a car with him, and it looked like it was a big square. Like if you go into a city, they might have like a big square in the center of the city that you drive around. But see, yeah, kind of like that. I remember the windows, they were shaped differently than here in America. In the square, it was a lot of sidewalks, only a few trees. The weather was always rainy and miserable. That's why I thought it was the UK. I think it like rained for 13 days straight. It was just always foggy and damp and ugh. I remember us being parked at different spots. I remember one day complaining about the weather and stopping for food, and all the garbage was on the floor on the passenger side of the car. That used to bug me. So I think we were, casing a place, watching a place. And we had done that for a couple of weeks, what seemed like a couple of weeks. So one night my military commander says, Hall, you've been working too hard. There's like a little amusement park. Let's go kick back for a little bit and relax before we have to do the rest of this mission. Trickery right there. Anyway, we go towards these rides, and it kind of looked like a carnival, amusement park-like thing. And we get on the Ferris wheel. All of a sudden, there's these three tall, huge guys in black leather jackets. They get on the Ferris wheel with us. We get brought to the top. These guys are flipping out on my military commander. Something to the effect of, you better go through with this. You better do it. Da-da-da-da-da. And they're about to throw him out the Ferris wheel. And then they're looking at me, sizing me up as if what they're going to do to me. And you can only imagine me being a female. And then, of course, toss me out after. And they were very threatening. Finally, we get down. My military commander had every intention. And I think he said something like, yeah, we're definitely going through with it. Or something. We get down off the Ferris wheel. I don't remember anything after that. I remember being pretty upset and shook up, though. But I think an altar came back. So, because I remember sitting in the car and, different points and times, and I think I was flipping in and out of altar, in and out of subpersonality, because I remember sitting there clear as day, like I'm sitting here with you now. I was not co-conscious at that time. I'm co-conscious with my alters and subpersonalities. Although there's one that blacks out. She doesn't remember anything. I have a lot of work with Yeshua to do with her. So she knocks that off. Anyway, so one night comes and my military commander's decked out. And it seems to be a big event. The sign says Rothschild. Big dinner party event. I remember my military commander pulling the car right up front, and I was dressed nice too. I remember sitting in the car, and I had handguns, and we were getting prepared. I remember having a discussion with my commander, and one of the things I said back to him was, well, they're not my flipping family. And he got out of the car and walked inside the place, and I stayed outside. A while later, he comes flying out. Everybody's shooting. He's shooting. He gets in the car. He starts to drive away. I'm shooting out of the car. And all of a sudden, a bullet ends up catching me in the right side. It went zinging through the door. And we were shooting back at these people as he's racing down the road. And once that bullet hit me, I looked at my commander and I said to him, I can't believe this just happened. This isn't supposed to happen. And I remember looking down and seeing the blood and then just sitting back. And I think another altar took over at that point. I don't remember anything after that. We were not successful on that mission. We did not. Apparently, my military commander did not shoot anybody, or it was not successful at hitting anybody he shot at. I think. I don't know. I wasn't inside the building, but I got shot. How did I heal? I don't have any scars, no. I would have to say the advanced technology they have in these DUMBs and in military laboratories, it heals you. Good as new. I kid you not. I had a vision of what they do to these super soldiers and people from deep underground military bases and cyborgs, what they do to these kids. I had met someone that I remember from the DUMBs, I believe. And one day that Holy Spirit took over and showed me 3 to 5 doctors standing over this boy, and they just had him laid open You know when you're in junior high and they make you dissect a worm and you cut it and then you open it and you have pins in it, opening its skin, the pins are in it. Well, that's how they had this kid, this guy. And they were doing something to his bones and all through his body. Um, so they have technology in us and implants. I'm not quite sure what they did to me. I'd really like to know. Even though it may be earth shattering, I want all my memories. I want to know what happened. Um, let's see. I'm going to say hello to my chat room. But wait 1 second. Are there any other memories floating around? I think that'll take care of some. But yeah, there's probably going to be a part 5. Because I have memories of, what they had us do once we survived all of the MK Ultra programming and all of the surgeries and all of, all of. So anyway, I have a ton more stories too that I can tell you. Well, I hope you enjoyed it, though. I hope this is an all right video. Hey, Crystal Lane, I want to give my interview to you. Please forgive me, sweetheart. I have, oh my goodness, a lot of messages. I've been lending a helping hand to the family of someone that I lost recently. I don't want to give out too much detail, but I won't be around this month, and probably January I won't be around, but January I can definitely do interviews. I'll be popping up more. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But Crystal, I can't wait till we talk and do an interview. That'll be so cool. All right. Without further ado, hey, Jeff, Roxanne, Karen Harrington. Good morning. Hi, V. Clara. Hi, Lou Girly. Opus Focus. Galen. Exposing My Lamps. How are you? Yes, exposing my labs. Jeff the Hammer Dillman. Hi, RD. Did my grandmother know? No. I wish she were alive because I would have had so many questions for her. She was a military wife, so I think she was subjected to some of these mind control techniques. I don't know that it was to the extent of me, but I know that my grandfather was in the Navy, so he was exposed to human experimentation. And yeah, exposing my labs. I have one quick memory of being in front of those screens and in that chair. They took me and another girl. But her and I got laughing, thinking, what'd she say? She goes, you and I, Holly, got laughing, thinking they were taking, I thought they were going to like take us and like put us like on a machine that that does the G forces or whatever. But it was really looking at those screens. I don't know. Taylor Bear, good morning. Maximus Deplorabilis, good morning. Many blessings. Steve Amo. Opus Focus, both. Sometimes my alters have an easier time telling me when I sleep. Some harsh memories. And during the day, yes. I'll try to trigger myself and read other people's testimonies or listen to them to jog my memory. Francis Smith, hi. Adeline, I was thinking about you, Addie. How are you? I was thinking about you this morning. Emma Bug, do I drink? No, I wish. I did. I don't anymore. I'm still working on nicotine, though. I'm extremely exhausted, though. I've been just so busy. No, you're fine. You can ask. I try to stay away from drinking. Some of my alters have drinking issues. They run away from their problems into a bottle, and that's not good. So as I reintegrate, I can put those things down. I'd really like to put down the vape pen and the cigarettes. I've done it before. I just really need to exercise Heavenly Abba's authority in me and my inner strength and just do it already. Who did I miss? Peace and love to you, Maximus. Deplorabilis. I like that. So I knew my screen flipped. I hate when that happens, when it jumps. I love you, Crystalline. Yeah, you're right. I don't want all the memories. The Pizzagate stuff was hard. Project Beta, that's... It's all right. Hey, Mike Smith, how are you? Hugs. Oh, I met the gatekeeper. I got to the gatekeeper. A new era test. Love and peace. Sunrise, how are you? Indian in the machine, hi. Yeah, it doesn't work. That's funny you say that. I got 10 milligrams recently. But it keeps me away from the cigarettes, and I do look forward to using the patch. But I don't like this kind. I like the other kind. 0 milligrams, congratulations. That's awesome. All right, guys, I got to get going because I've not eaten breakfast yet. I'm still... I hope this video came out pretty good. I definitely want to tell you more of my stories, and I hope that you enjoyed them. And for the mockers and scoffers and trolls out there, have fun with it. But you do not have permission to use my videos or use my face or use anything that I do. You do not have my permission. I don't want to be on your channel for a reason. And please don't use my name. You don't have permission to do that. I suggest you use your own name, but maybe you're scared you won't get any views, and that's why you're riding on my coattails. If anybody sees people out there using my videos and then bashing me, oh, Perth, how are you? I was thinking about you too. If anybody sees those videos, let me know, because I'm going to flag them and try and shut them down. Everybody has the right to freedom of speech and to say what you think. I hope you're polite about it and considerate, but You know, when you're playing my videos or my interviews without my permission, that's wrong. Go make your own. How come you don't make your own and use your own name? I'm sorry that you don't believe me or that you don't have a testimony and that you have nothing better to do in your time but to make fun of me. And also, stop making fun of my friends. That's what kills me the most, is you make fun of my friends, my loved ones, people I cherish in my life, people that gave me a chance and have positively impacted my life. You bash them. I really hope that you guys change your ways and just knock it off and do something more productive. But enough about that. So I'll be praying for my enemies and my haters. Yeah, yeah. Oh, you can share my videos. That's fine. What I mean is somebody on YouTube makes their own video and then plays my video on their video and then bashes me and plays the whole video on their video. So they're taking the whole video, replaying it, and just bashing me and my friends in it and trying to grab views. Like my channel, I don't have it monetized for a couple of reasons. One, it's a pain in the neck. I never figured out how. I really don't want to put commercials on my shows. And two, if you have it monetized, you get censored a lot more than when you're non-monetized. And I'm not going to, my testimony's free. Heavenly Abba, Yud HaVeha, called me to give my testimony. That's free. So anyway. Oh, I don't even want to say the guy's name. I don't want to give him any. I'll send it to you. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. So I hope you all have a beautiful and blessed day. And yes, I will come back with a part 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'll try to like make little notes what they're about. But, all right, I'll let you guys go. Okay, yeah, that way you know what they're about. Yeah, I got to put a warning on 4 because 4 is about like, all right. Anyway, I'll shut up and let y'all go. Yud HaVeha, please bless all of my loved ones. Answer the request they've made of you. Give them a beautiful day. And please bless and baptize them in the Holy Spirit and put their full armor on and pour the blood of the Lamb on them and protect them from all evil. In Yeshua HaMashiach's name, Selah. I love you guys so much. I shall be back soon. Forgive me. I've just been extremely busy. Again, helping to, I had a big loss in my life. Someone passed away, and I'm just giving a helping hand to close some matters and things down. So I've been offline a lot, and I'm sorry to people that I have not gotten back to, and I'll try to be better. But probably for the rest of the month, I won't be around. So, all right, guys, I love you. I love you. I love you. But when I am around, I'll try to make a good video and give you my testimony. Thanks for joining me this morning. And it's 10:01 a.m. I love you.